Aussie, often referred to as a fantastical version of Australia on the world of Toril, is a vast and untamed land teeming with reptilian species, diverse bird life, insects, plants, and other strange creatures. Its environments range from sun-scorched deserts to humid coastal regions, fostering some of the most resilient and bizarre forms of life. Giant marsupial predators, venomous insects, and peculiar flora have all adapted to the continent's harsh conditions, creating a world where survival is a daily struggle. Reptilian life dominates much of Aussie, particularly the many species of lizard folk that have thrived in various habitats. The bird life, too, is astounding, from vibrant tropical species that fill the jungle canopies with their calls to massive flightless birds that stalk the plains. The insect population, while beautiful in its diversity, can be deadly, featuring everything from immense beetles to venomous species capable of incapacitating a human in mere moments. The flora of Aussie has evolved alongside these creatures, with many plants developing toxins, spines, and other defenses to deter the continent's voracious predators. Every living thing on Aussie has adapted in some way to the relentless challenges posed by its unforgiving environment. The Komodo, towering brutes resembling humanoid Komodo dragons, are infamous for their slow and lethargic nature, though this changes drastically once they catch the scent of blood. At that moment, they enter a berserk frenzy, unleashing violent and deadly attacks with their crude yet powerful stone axes carved from the volcanic rocks of their homeland. These creatures are not to be underestimated in combat, as their sluggish demeanor belies the sudden speed and ferocity they can display when provoked. They inhabit remote islands off the coast of Osse, preferring rocky, forested areas where prey is plentiful. Their shelters are simple and functional, consisting of large stone slabs supported by sturdy wooden beams, providing basic cover from the elements. These structures are crude but effective, often blending into the rugged landscape of the islands. Komodo culture is steeped in blood rituals, which are central to their identity. During these rites, a powerful member of the tribe sacrifices a captured creature, often a large boar or a fallen enemy, as an offering to the primal spirits they believe govern the world. The blood is spilled onto sacred stones, and the tribe gathers in a circle, silently watching the ritual until the frenzied eating begins. This communal feasting strengthens their bond, and the blood rites mark transitions of power, the initiation of warriors, or the forging of alliances. The Komodo diet consists primarily of large game, including boar, deer, and even other humanoids when opportunity allows. They are voracious eaters, consuming their prey entirely, leaving nothing behind. Their powerful jaws and teeth can crush bones, and they have a particular taste for meat. However, they are also opportunistic, foraging for fruit, roots, and plants when hunting is scarce. Their equipment is simple but effective: stone axes, spears, and the occasional club. These weapons are primitive in design but deadly in the hands of the Komodo. They also craft armor from the bones of their prey, strapping large plates to their bodies as makeshift protection in battle. Despite their brute strength, they show little interest in complex tools or weapons, preferring raw power over finesse. The Komodo's social structure is based on strength, with the strongest and fiercest warriors leading their tribes. Leadership is often contested in ritual combat, where rivals fight to the death or until one is too wounded to continue. The victor claims leadership, and their rule is respected until they are challenged once again. The tribe is composed of smaller family units, with warriors, hunters, and gatherers working together for survival. Though they are primarily solitary hunters, they band together during times of war or blood rites. Their language is a guttural mix of clicks, growls, and hisses, difficult for outsiders to understand. However, it's been observed that certain words carry particular significance. The word for blood, grak, is often used in rituals, while korak is a term used to refer to battle or combat. Diplomacy with the Komodo is dangerous, and understanding their language is key to avoiding conflict. Avoiding violence with the Komodo requires a careful approach. They are quick to anger, and any display of weakness or fear will provoke them into action. Offering food, particularly fresh meat, can help ease tensions, as they are more likely to see a well-fed outsider as less of a threat. It is also important to avoid direct eye contact, which they perceive as a challenge. Trading with the Komodo is rare but possible. They value weapons, particularly those made of metals they cannot craft themselves, and offering such items may ensure safe passage through their lands. The Komodo life cycle begins with eggs, which are laid in the sandy shores of their island homes. Once hatched, the young are left to fend for themselves, and only the strongest survive. As they grow, they slowly integrate into the tribe, first as gatherers, then as hunters. By the time they reach full adulthood, around 20 years of age, they are considered warriors. The Komodo live relatively long lives compared to other reptilian humanoids, with some living well into their 50s or 60s, though many die in battle long before that. Tribes of Komodo are generally small, ranging from a dozen to around 50 individuals. Larger tribes are rare, as their ferocious nature often leads to internal conflict and the splintering of groups. They have little contact with other races and are often hostile to outsiders. However, their reaction to humanoids from Faerun is one of curiosity more than outright hostility. The presence of magic and advanced weaponry intrigues them, and they will often test the strength of such outsiders through combat or intimidation before deciding whether to trade or attack. Next, I encountered the diminutive flying lizard folk who inhabit the rocky outcrops and cliffs near the Komodo's territory. These hobbit-sized lizard folk possess a unique evolutionary adaptation, wing membranes that stretch between their arms and legs, enabling them to glide from great heights with agility and grace. Their small, frail bodies belie their speed, allowing them to dart through the air and quickly navigate the steep cliffs and rocky crevices of their island homes. With long, flat, buam tails and large eyes adapted for low-light vision, they are primarily nocturnal, avoiding the heat of the sun and foraging in the cool dusk and dawn. The flying lizard folk live in tight-knit insular communities, constructing their homes high on cliff faces where they are safe from larger predators. These homes are simple in design, often made from woven vines, branches, and the occasional stone, with small caves carved into the cliffs serving as communal sleeping areas. Their communities are built vertically, with homes stacked above and below each other, accessible only by their gliding abilities. Outsiders rarely see the full extent of their villages, as they are carefully hidden in the most inaccessible regions of the islands. Their diet consists primarily of insects, grubs, fungi, and small fruits. They cultivate small gardens of edible fungi within the damp caves they inhabit, while also gathering insects from the surrounding environment. Their preferred food source, however, is the swarms of insects that populate the island's dense forests. They use long, delicate tools crafted from bone or wood to catch these insects in mid-flight, displaying remarkable dexterity despite their small size. In addition to this, they forage for fruits and occasionally raid the nests of other creatures for eggs. Where the flying lizard folk are peaceful by nature and avoid direct confrontation with the larger, more aggressive species of Osse, such as the Komodo. Instead, they rely on their speed and agility to evade predators, gliding from cliff to cliff and disappearing into narrow crevices that their bulkier enemies cannot reach. Their primary defense is to flee rather than fight, though they can defend themselves with sharp, clawed feet if absolutely necessary. When threatened, they emit a high-pitched, rapid series of chirps, both to warn their tribe and to confuse and disorient potential attackers. Their language is a rapid, chirping dialect that echoes through the caverns they inhabit. It consists of sharp, staccato bursts of sound that reflect off the rocky surfaces of their homes, making it difficult for outsiders to locate them by sound alone. Their language is as much about timing and pitch as it is about the actual sounds, making it incredibly complex and difficult for outsiders to learn. Some of the more common words include chi for danger and chika for food, both of which are used frequently as they navigate their environment. In terms of trade, the flying lizard folk are hesitant to interact with other species, but they will engage in exchanges with trusted outsiders. They trade in rare insects, fungi, and other natural resources found on the cliffs, particularly prized by alchemists or those in need of unique biological materials. Approaching them for trade requires patience and respect. Presenting food, especially fruits or nuts, as a gift is a good way to establish trust. Loud or aggressive behavior, on the other hand, will send them scurrying into the cliffs, where they can easily disappear from sight. Their social structure is highly cooperative, with leadership typically falling to the oldest and most experienced members of the tribe. These elders, though frail, are wise and often serve as guides for the younger generation, teaching them how to forage, glide, and avoid predators. The flying lizard folk's art is mostly practical, taking the form of woven patterns on their homes or intricate designs carved into their bone tools. However, they also practice a form of skydancing where groups of them glide through the air in coordinated patterns, creating a beautiful display of their aerial skills. This serves both as a form of entertainment and a way to strengthen community bonds. Their life cycle is relatively short compared to other lizard folk species. with individuals rarely living beyond 30 years. They mature quickly, however, reaching adulthood by the age of 5. The numbers within each tribe tend to be small, usually no more than 20 to 30 individuals, as their diet and habitat can only support a limited population. While they are wary of strangers, they are intensely curious about the strange humanoids from Faerun. When first encountering such outsiders, they may silently observe from the cliffs, gliding away if approached too quickly. However, those who show patience and curiosity in return may eventually be accepted into their midst, albeit cautiously. The tidal iguana folk are a remarkable species of lizard folk deeply connected to the ocean. These coastal dwellers make their homes along rocky shores and outcroppings, thriving in the intertidal zones where land meets sea. Their society revolves around cooperation, not only within their own tribes but also with the other sentient species of Osse, including humans and marsupial folk. Their economy centers on farming shellfish and crustaceans, and they engage in trade, exchanging goods such as shells, gemstones, and tools crafted from these materials. Their culture is one of deep reverence for the ocean. They believe that the sea is a living entity, possessing spirits that control the tides, weather, and the bounty it provides. To honor these spirits, the tidal iguana folk perform intricate rituals, offering food and valuable items to the sea in hopes of ensuring calm waters and abundant fishing seasons. These ceremonies are held during high tides, when the ocean's energy is believed to be strongest. During the rituals, tribal elders, who are often the most experienced in matters of the sea, lead the chanting and dances while the younger members of the tribe present their offerings. Their language is a soft, flowing dialect that mimics the sound of water lapping against rocks. It consists of gentle clicks and rhythmic hums, making it difficult for outsiders to learn. However, the iguana folk are not opposed to teaching their language to trusted traders and allies. Some basic words include sa'aka for water and ikul for trade. Diplomacy with the tidal iguana folk is relatively easy compared to other lizard folk species, as they value peaceful relationships and mutual benefit. Gifts of food from the sea or useful trade goods are appreciated, and establishing trust with them can lead to lucrative trading relationships. In combat, the tidal iguana folk are swift and agile, using their natural affinity for water to their advantage. They are experts in aquatic combat, able to move through water with ease while striking at enemies with sharp shell blades and spears carved from gemstone. Their agility allows them to outmaneuver larger and stronger opponents, darting in and out of the water to strike before retreating to safety. They also use their intimate knowledge of the coastal terrain to lure enemies into dangerous waters, where the tides and currents become their greatest allies. The crafting skills of the tidal iguana folk are highly regarded by other species. They use shells and gemstones to create not only weapons but also jewelry and ceremonial items. Their craftsmanship is precise, and the items they produce are both functional and beautiful. Their weapons, in particular, are prized for their sharpness and durability, making them highly sought after in trade. The iguana folk's territory spans the coastal regions, where they build their homes among the rocks and cliffs that provide natural protection from both the elements and predators. Their dwellings are simple but effective, built from driftwood, stone, and seaweed. These homes are clustered together in small villages, each governed by a council of elders who oversee both the spiritual and practical needs of the tribe. Ecologically, the tidal iguana folk play a crucial role in maintaining the balance of the coastal environment. Their shellfish farms prevent overpopulation in tidal pools, while their selective fishing practices ensure that fish stocks remain plentiful. They are careful stewards of the ocean, taking only what they need and always giving back to the sea in the form of offerings and care. Historically, the tidal iguana folk have maintained peaceful relations with their neighbours, though they have been known to defend their territory fiercely when necessary. Their agility in both land and sea combat makes them formidable defenders of their coastal homes, and their deep knowledge of the ocean allows them to exploit their environment to gain the upper hand against invaders. The frill-necked lizardfolk of Osse are a lanky, medium-sized species that thrive in the arid, dry lands of the continent. Their most distinctive feature is the large, colourful frills around their necks, which they flare in displays of threat or during rituals. These frills serve not only as a warning to enemies, but also play a central role in their social rituals and communication. The frill-necked lizardfolk are renowned for their adaptability to harsh environments and their profound understanding of the flora, fauna, and ever-shifting weather patterns of the arid regions they inhabit. The tribes of the frill-necked lizardfolk are numerous. each one marked by unique traditions and a strong sense of identity. They live in small, tight-knit communities, often located near vital water sources like oases, or in the shade of rocky outcroppings. These tribes are semi-nomadic, moving with the changing seasons to ensure the survival of their people. Their knowledge of the land makes them incredibly adept at finding hidden springs, gathering edible plants, and utilizing natural materials for shelter. Their homes are typically constructed from stones, mud, and woven plant fibers, blending seamlessly into the arid landscape. The frill-necked lizard folk are perhaps best known for their exceptional skills as wilderness guides. Their deep knowledge of the terrain, wildlife, and weather patterns make them invaluable to travelers, merchants, and adventurers seeking safe passage through Aussie's arid regions. They navigate the land with a seemingly effortless grace, able to detect subtle changes in the environment that might signal an approaching storm or the presence of a hidden predator. Their skills in tracking and hunting are unparalleled, and they are able to locate game, water, and shelter where others would find nothing but barren wasteland. One of the most fascinating aspects of their culture is their code language of placed rocks, a system of communication used to leave messages for other tribes and fellow travelers. These messages are left by arranging stones in specific patterns or formations, with each pattern corresponding to a particular meaning. For example, a triangular arrangement of rocks might indicate the presence of fresh water nearby, while a spiral formation could serve as a warning of dangerous wildlife. This code language is known only to the frill-necked lizard folk, though some of their close allies and trading partners have been taught its basic forms. It is said that a skilled frill-necked scout can read an entire narrative from a simple arrangement of pebbles, interpreting the movements and actions of another tribe as they traverse the land. Their diet consists largely of small game, insects, and the various edible plants and herbs that they gather from the dry lands. The frill-necked lizard folk are excellent hunters, using traps and snares to capture their prey rather than relying on brute strength. They are known for their careful use of resources, ensuring that nothing goes to waste. Along with their hunting prowess, they are also skilled foragers, possessing an encyclopedic knowledge of the medicinal and edible plants of the region. Many of their meals include these gathered herbs, which they incorporate into stews and dried provisions, helping them survive the long journeys between settlements. Their language is a soft, whispering dialect that blends with the wind of the drylands, making it hard to detect unless one is trained to listen for it. It is said that they can communicate across vast distances by using subtle variations in tone and pitch which are carried by the wind. This skill is particularly useful for their hunters, who must remain silent while communicating across the open plains. Their words for basic survival concepts are many and varied, reflecting their deep connection to the land. For instance, Heshka refers to a hidden water source, while Thrilak is a term used for a distant storm that could bring life or destruction. The social structure of the frill-necked lizard folk is complex, with each tribe led by a council of elders who have earned their status through years of survival and wisdom. These elders are not just leaders in a political sense, but also spiritual guides, responsible for interpreting the land's omens and signs. Below them are the hunters, foragers, and guides, each fulfilling a specific role within the tribe. Children are taught from a young age how to read the land, track prey, and use plants for both food and medicine, ensuring that the tribe's knowledge is passed down through generations. Diplomatically, the frill-necked lizard folk are cautious but fair. They rarely engage in conflict unless their territory is threatened, preferring instead to negotiate or simply guide outsiders away from dangerous areas. When they do engage in combat, they rely on their agility, traps, and detailed knowledge of the terrain to outmaneuver their enemies. They use simple but effective weapons such as bone-tipped spears, slings, and snares. They also make use of poisons derived from local plants and insects, which they apply to their weapons to incapacitate or kill their foes without direct confrontation. Their crafting is practical and efficient, focusing on tools and equipment designed for survival. They fashion lightweight and durable items from bone, plant fibers, and stones. Their traps are particularly sophisticated, often using a combination of natural materials to create elaborate mechanisms that can capture prey or defend their camps from predators. They are also skilled in crafting basic clothing from the skins of the animals they hunt, which they adorn with beads and small bones to signify status or tribal affiliation. The territory of the frill-necked lizard folk spans the arid regions of Aussie, where they have adapted to survive in one of the harshest environments on the continent. They make their homes in the canyons, cliffs, and dry riverbeds, always staying close to the few reliable water sources they know so well. Each tribe maintains a map of these sources, and they guard this knowledge fiercely, sharing it only with those they trust. Ecologically, they play a crucial role in maintaining the balance of life in the drylands. By carefully managing the game they hunt and the plants they gather, they ensure that the land can continue to support life. Their intimate understanding of the region's ecology allows them to predict the movements of animals and the seasonal growth of plants, which in turn informs their nomadic patterns. Historically, the frill-necked lizardfolk have been regarded as elusive but reliable allies to those who have earned their trust. They have little interest in conquest or expansion, preferring instead to preserve the delicate balance of their homeland. However, they have on occasion been drawn into conflicts, often serving as scouts or guides for other factions. Their knowledge of the land and ability to move unseen makes them valuable allies in times of war, though they're careful to choose their battles wisely. Lastly, the species that seemed to weave itself through the social and cultural fabric of Osse was the chameleon lizardfolk. These highly adaptable creatures possess the remarkable ability to blend into their surroundings, making them the most elusive of the lizard folk. Their skin can shift in color and texture, allowing them to disappear almost completely against natural backdrops, from rocky outcrops to dense forests. This natural camouflage has made them opportunistic hunters, spies, and scouts, traits that their society prizes above all else. The chameleon lizard folk's culture revolves around cunning and strategy. Unlike the brute force tactics of the Komodo or the agility of the flying lizard folk, the chameleon lizard folk value subtlety, preferring to manipulate events from the shadows. Their political landscape is intricate, filled with alliances, betrayals, and feints. They are known to play tribes and species against one another, often pitting two enemies against each other for their own gain, while they sit back and watch the conflict unfold. Their mastery of deception and espionage has earned them a fearsome reputation among their fellow lizard folk and other inhabitants of Osse. In terms of society, they are organised in loose, decentralised clans with no single ruler or council to oversee all of them. Instead, individual leaders rise to power through wit and cunning, holding sway over their clan as long as they can outsmart any potential rivals. Leadership changes frequently as younger or more clever members of the clan challenge the status quo. This constant flux keeps their society sharp and adaptable, but it also creates an air of suspicion and distrust, even within their own ranks. Diplomatically, the chameleon lizardfolk are shrewd negotiators. While they do not seek war outright, they are not above sabotaging relations between other tribes or manipulating events to their advantage. They prefer indirect confrontations, using spies and misinformation to weaken their enemies before engaging them directly. Those who seek to trade with or ally with the chameleon lizardfolk must tread carefully, as their true intentions are often hidden behind layers of deception. However, they do respect strength of mind and value those who can outwit them in negotiations, sometimes rewarding cleverness with genuine alliances or valuable information. Chameleon lizardfolk excel in deception and evasion, using their natural camouflage to blend seamlessly with their surroundings. Unlike other species that rely on speed or strength, the chameleon lizardfolk thrive by becoming invisible hunters, stalking their prey with patience and precision. They prefer to remain undetected until the perfect moment, using the landscape to mask their movements. Their attacks come without warning, leaving enemies bewildered, often never knowing who or what struck them. Their combat style revolves around environmental manipulation rather than direct confrontation. They create intricate traps that are indistinguishable from the natural terrain, catching foes off guard long before a fight begins. Their preferred method of engaging an enemy is to disorient and weaken them through subtle means, guiding their opponents into prepared snares or setting up ambush points where escape becomes impossible. Their strikes are swift and calculated, ensuring that the conflict ends before it truly starts. Their equipment is minimalist but highly effective. They craft lightweight spears, darts, and knives, all designed for silent, precise strikes. These weapons are often made from bone, wood, and other natural materials, and are sometimes coated with venom derived from the many poisonous plants and insects of Osse. Chameleon lizardfolk also excel at crafting intricate snares and traps, which they use to capture both animals and unwary intruders. Their craftsmanship is subtle and practical, focusing more on functionality than aesthetics, though some tools are decorated with small carvings that tell of the trapmaker's personal exploits. The territory of the chameleon lizardfolk is vast and varied. They inhabit forests, rocky cliffs, and even the outskirts of desert regions, anywhere they can make use of their natural camouflage. Their settlements are difficult to find, hidden in the most remote and inaccessible parts of Aussie. They construct homes within natural caves or build small, camouflaged shelters from the local environment. These dwellings are temporary, as the chameleon lizard folk frequently relocate to avoid detection or potential conflict. Ecologically, they are masterful predators and caretakers of their environment. Despite their manipulative nature, they maintain a delicate balance with the ecosystems they inhabit. They hunt only what they need and ensure that their presence remains undetected by leaving no trace of their activities. This ecological caution also extends to their use of the land. They avoid over-harvesting plants or depleting animal populations, understanding that a damaged environment would make them more visible to predators and enemies alike. Historically, the chameleon lizard folk have always preferred to remain on the outskirts of Aussie's political and military conflicts, inserting themselves only when it serves their purposes. They're rarely seen on the front lines of battle, but their influence is felt in the shifting alliances and covert skirmishes that define the power dynamics of the region. Their ability to manipulate events from behind the scenes has allowed them to survive and even thrive where more aggressive species might falter. Finally, the chameleon lizard folk are the most cunning of the bunch, using their natural camouflage to avoid detection. In combat, they rely on stealth and ambush tactics, often incapacitating their enemies before they even know they're being hunted. Their traps and snares are notorious, and they're able to manipulate their environment in ways that leave their opponents disoriented and vulnerable. My name is AJ Pickett, as always. Thanks for listening, and I will be back with more for you very soon.